see anything.
Oh, we're live.
live.
Oh, it says we're live.
We're live now. So cool.
We're live? I
Yeah,
didn't see it.
it's
Yeah.
a red thing in the
Hi,
top left corner.
everyone.
Hi.
Hi.
Oh, I see it. There's a live button.
There's a live button. There's a live button.
I'm going to
It's
share it
happy day.
everywhere.
Yes.
So you guys just talk amongst yourselves, entertain the audience, and I will be sharing.
Okay.
Oh, we're entertaining the audience.
Because,
Okay.
Yeah, she's going to be sharing. So my name is Georgia Watson,
Yes, and I'm Brett Rockmore.
and today I think we're going to be talking about love.
Love,
We'll just add
and
love
sex
to it.
and jealousy and peace. 4 things that don't truly exist, even though you want them to.
But wouldn't it be nice? If like before, so Annie was on here and she was like,
Oh yeah, this is Annie Let May. Wait, she's this way for us.
She's so great.
She's our wonderful
this way.
host, and she asked us to come on here.
And earlier she was like, I have some chopsticks. And then I came on and I was like, I have chopsticks too. And it's like, that's kind of the whole thing that love is supposed to be like, oh my gosh, we have this in common. Oh my God, you love the Dave Matthews Band? I love the Dave Matthews Band.
Therefore, we're meant to be together forever.
And then it just has to work. And it's like, why are all these upsetting things coming in between? And that's how we're just starting this off, I guess.
Love. You notice how many songs are about love?
A lot of
and
country
sex
songs.
and jealousy and peace.
Yeah, the peace section I would say was like pretty heavy through like the 60s.
And went into the 70s too.
Yeah. Late 60s.
But you notice how with the peace everyone talked about, it was a fighting against the wars that were going on.
Yeah, Vietnam at the time.
And that's what a distractor implant does. It puts up one thing, like here's this really great concept that everyone could love to have, peace, but it's a distractor implant, so it gets you looking over here while something over here that's less savory is going on. So
by savory, it's not like a nice, delectable, salty snack. It's more just like,
Yeah, so you look at peace.
Great, not great.
You look at peace in order to maintain fight and war. But what could true peace actually be? That's not a fight against to get peace. I think I'm already frying everyone who's listening and confusing everyone.
Yeah, it's so great to be on here and just like playing and
Yes. Okay, so do you do like clearing statement things on here?
We can.
Okay. If you don't want to, we don't
It's
have to.
okay, right?
Yeah, I'm sure. Why not? Okay, so there's definitely an energy building up in the people watching where it's like, oh my gosh.
What did I accidentally happen upon?
Yeah. Okay, so
It's like, what is this? Love? Sex? Oh my God, sex?
And also, so I don't I think I can pull up the live and see if you guys have any questions who are watching live. Like, feel free to post them. I'm gonna. Oh, now I can see here.
I think we can see live comments on here.
The live comments kind of populate
on
that side. Wait,
awesome.
that side.
So cool.
Is
This is awesome. You're doing great with this, by the way. This is so fun.
Since you guys started talking about love, sex, jealousy, and peace, my body just turned so hot and sweaty. What is that? I just.
Well, what does your body know about what's possible beneath and like what's beyond love, sex, jealousy, and peace? What is it that those distractor implants are distracting you from that you actually have total awareness of that's more true for your being than the distractor implants are?
Whoa. I think my mind just went like, and then like.
I think I saw it like somebody come in with a spatula and just go whoosh, and like
it's
throw
like,
it up like a
it's like
pancake.
Missy Elliott. I put my thing down, flip it, and reversed it.
Reverse it. There you go.
Yeah.
So with the what we're talking about today are distractor implants. What these things that were discovered by Gary Douglas and Dr. Dane here in Access Consciousness. And there is a lovely book that Annie has with her.
Oh, here you go.
Yeah, it's called Living Beyond Distraction. And it's all about these different distractor implants and how we use them as distractions in our lives and how to actually live beyond the distraction. Because a distractor implant, it's invented to get you to keep looping around in a circle. Do you ever realize, like, notice when you're in love with someone, it just kind of loops around and around and around and around and around and around and around. It's like a merry-go-round that you can never get off of. Well, that's because it's a distractor implant. Have you ever noticed when sex comes up, when you might want to have sex with someone or you do have sex with someone, the same thing occurs where you just keep thinking about it. It goes around and around and around. Oh my gosh, am I going to get sex? How am I going to get sex? When am I going to get sex? What does this sex mean? All this stuff.
Yeah.
All distractor implants. Jealousy. If you ever see someone flirting with your girl or see someone flirting with your guy, and that same energy comes up where you just keep thinking about what it means that this person's doing this. Is the person you're in relationship with going to go with them or not? Oh my gosh, are they going to fall for this? Blah, blah, blah. And it keeps going round and round and round. And it never seems to stop. So those are distractor implants.
And something that all of those have in common is just this constant mental looping that you really can't get free of if you stay within that same confines. So what we're talking about today is actually getting free of those things and finding out what exists beyond that.
We had a special guest.
Yeah, exactly.
Going upstairs.
A fluffy special guest. Yeah. And if you actually look at the animal world, it's like, do they function from love, sex, jealousy, or peace at all? No. I mean, if you look at peace, it's like, does a lion have peace while it's hunting? And does a zebra have peace while it's being eaten? It's like, for a person, that would be totally outrageous, but they actually have peace doing those things. Mm-hmm. We were watching something the other day. Oh, that silly show, Naked and Afraid. And there was this guy, and he was killing an electric eel. And to bring up that energy to actually be able to kill this thing so that he and his partner that they were doing the survival show with could actually eat and survive, because they were really, really low in calories at that point. He brought up this energy of total anger and rage, and which are other distractor implants. But
he had he psyched himself up. He had to oh yeah, I hate you. Oh yeah, take that.
Yeah, take that. It's like this like he was trying to psych himself up to kill this thing. And his partner that was with him was actually saying well, what if you tried honoring that creature? It's about to give its lives for us. And I thought that was so cool to actually see that on TV, this totally different perspective that you don't actually have to psych yourself up for something to choose what works. Even if it's something as crazy as killing an animal to be able to save your own life. It's like, what if the choices that we make, we don't have to actually psych ourselves up for and wrap ourselves up into this kind of web, but we just have actual choice, like the next step and the next step and the next step.
I love that. It's like making it not significant.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. And when you don't make it significant, you can see what actually is. It's like, do you have to see a creature as a monster to kill it? Or can you actually thank it for the peace that it still has? It's like, a lot of us eat meat these days, and we aren't actually doing the killing of those animals. And when I first came to Access Consciousness and started taking the classes, I was a vegetarian for 5 years. I didn't even eat eggs. I didn't eat gelatin, nothing that moved or had the potential to move. Later, I find out that trees actually have the capacity to walk just really, really slowly. So that kind of threw a wrench in the whole thing.
That's really cool. I've never known that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Monica Gilliam is an incredible facilitator, and she's been helping us with the plants at our house. And she's been telling us these incredible things about plants and how they communicate. And it's just so strange how sometimes people set these kind of lines like, oh, I will only eat something that is doesn't have eyes. And it's like, well, but can plants actually see in their own way? I wonder.
Now there's a bunch of people out there who are just going to eat nothing.
Yeah. Oh, water.
What's the breatharians?
Yeah,
Yes.
breatharians. Yes.
But again, it's like if your intent is to not do harm or to not be violent against anybody, what if your actual consumption and ingestion of water, of creatures, actually contributes to them more than we really want to know?
Yeah.
It's like that gratitude piece about everything that comes to your life.
Yeah, and your gratitude for something that, hey, Kitty went by.
Sorry, I know. I just get so excited.
He's the real important one in this conversation.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, I know you need my contribution. I'm going to go down one more time. So we do have a question.
Yeah.
Cool.
Sabina is
what's up?
asking, how do we look beyond these distractor implants?
That's a great question. So the first thing, if you notice you're going into a distractor implant, and how do you know you're going into a distractor implant? You just keep looping around and around and around and around and around and around. And no matter what you look at, you can't seem to get present. You can't seem to be able to change what it is. That's because it's just a distractor implant. And you go, okay, so all the distractor implants, destroy and uncreate them all. Right and wrong, good and bad, pot and pock, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. And then you want to look at, so what strength do I have underneath these distractor implants that I haven't acknowledged?
Yeah. So I just want to interject one quick thing, that if you haven't heard that segment of words, right, wrong, good, bad, all nine, pod, pock, shorts, boys and beyonds, you can find a really beautiful explanation of the access clearing statement. And that's what that phrase is, with Dr. Dane here at theclearingstatement.com. So you're talking about the beautiful, or what did you say, the energy underneath it?
Yeah. So with distractor implants, it's like they function to keep you distracted from what's actually true about you.
Yeah. Yeah. So how many of you out there have actually made it a target to make sure that you're not present and not clear about what's true for you?
Ooh.
Isn't that weird? It's like, how could that ever be a target for us? But if you've done that through any lifetime, yes, we're going back that far. Yes, we're that crazy. Let's destroy and uncreate it now. And it's as simple as this clearing statement: right, wrong, good, bad, all nine, pod, pock, shorts, boys and beyonds. And one of the great things about access consciousness is you don't have to sit there and like dissect it and look through things. Who cares why that was ever a priority? Maybe that seemed like a really good idea at the time. But if you've ever taken any point of view, made anything a necessity, seen the world in any kind of perspective, to actually create a new start and to actually start to change the past and create a new future, all you have to do is just say, well, everything that I chose with that, I'll just destroy and uncreate it all. Right, wrong, good, bad, all nine, pod, pock, shorts, boys and beyonds.
It's almost too simple.
Yeah, no one's allowed to use it. It's too simple. It won't work. It won't change anything.
Exactly.
Yeah, we definitely never experienced any change from using any of these tools.
Oh, no,
right?
no, not us three. No,
No.
definitely. In fact, if people met us three about 5 years ago, they'd say they're exactly the same people. I know exactly what to expect from them.
Exactly.
It's actually incredible, though. I will point out that we were, being very sarcastic there. And Annie, I've seen you at a lot of classes recently, and the questions that you've been asking recently have just been from such a different space and place that it just acknowledges so much how people can change really, really quickly when you use these simple tools that maybe people haven't heard of before, that we didn't hear of before Access Consciousness. But when we get started using them, it's like we don't really remember the places that we functioned from before, the places that we thought were so real and so true. Those just kind of like drift away. And then what's that like new, bright, shiny way of being, which is more us, becomes just like how we are. Like, haven't we always been this way?
Yeah. It's kind of like when magic starts happening in your life and you just start thinking, oh, this is normal. This is just how it is. We have another question. And also Allison saying, love that phrase. I'm pretty sure she's talking about the claim statement.
Yes.
Maybe. And she said gross. And I think that's when you were talking about dissecting. Like,
Oh,
so having to look through everything. Gosh, that's the longer approach.
yeah.
okay.
Oh my
So
gosh. Yes. Choose Plug and Pod.
Yes. So we are talking about love, sex, jealousy, peace today. So if anybody has any specific questions, okay. So there is a question about that, using bodies for sex and no sex. Well, so sex and no sex is a topic that's talked about, I think, in the foundation class of Access Consciousness. There are a lot of online foundation classes that are coming up that people are now doing because of COVID. The classes have opened up to not just being in person, they're online. In fact, Brett and I this coming weekend, are going to be participating in a foundation class. We've done many of them. We've actually facilitated a foundation class, but we love the facilitators, Marnie Branco. I always have a hard time with the pronunciation. Marnie Branco and Marilyn Bradford. They're going to be doing one this weekend. And we know a lot of facilitators who are going to be having those amazing classes. But this idea of sex and no sex, it's a pretty big conversation. And so I would say, if you want to hear a little bit more about that, I would definitely recommend really diving into that, because that's actually a bigger conversation than just a few minutes. And luckily in the foundation class, you get 4 full days to really explore in depth these kinds of tools and what these weird kind of words mean. And you find out that they're not actually weird and crazy words at all. They just are indicators of these different awarenesses and ideas that probably we've come to on our own, but just haven't had total clarity on yet. So at least that's what I found in the foundation class.
Yes, they're really, really amazing. It's like, I just talk a little bit about my first foundation. It was also the facilitator's first foundation.
Wow.
And I brought the whole family.
Wow. And you've got a wonderful family. So who was there out of your family?
So Jared, the littlest one, wasn't born yet.
But he was in your family?
Yeah, I didn't know. I didn't know. So we did the entity clearings. But so
he was a tough cookie.
Yeah.
Wow.
But, yeah.
Well, I know Fred is a very big fan of that being. They're good friends, I would have to say.
Yeah, he's a great co-facilitator.
He's pretty good at SOP sessions too. I was surprised. Yeah. So.
Huge gift.
He's been doing Access from day one, so that's
literally, yeah.
That's a poke guy.
Yes, please continue. So who else was there?
The oldest one. He's autistic and he was nonverbal. And after the 4 days of foundation, like he was just playing around. He started talking.
Wow.
And he played his tablet, like right when the facilitator, what's her name? Oh my gosh, I forgot. CRS. But she said, okay, that's it. Like, you guys, you just finished foundation. He pushed a button and then a song started playing and it was like singing like, goodbye, goodbye. It's time to go. And I was like, everybody was like, he just, because it's like a 2-year-old. Like, so he knew.
Wow.
And like, foundation really uncovered a lot of stuff. And like, believe it or not, I was wearing like a black hoodie and I was like, stay away from me like the whole time. And I was like so emo. Like the whole time. But, like,
I feel like to be emo, you really need like
the bangs that go over like one of your eyes.
No, just like
just the
ponytail and the hood.
I need to be emo.
Adorable. It's so great to actually be able to look back on where we were just a few years ago and to actually have that kind of sweetness and looking looking at ourselves, knowing that maybe we had a few more limitations, maybe we didn't know everything we knew now, but to really be sweet with ourselves and just know that all of us have been doing the very, very best that we absolutely can. And even with, we're talking about distractor implants today, even having the distractor implants, and sometimes, things will trigger us. And it's like, what if you didn't have to make yourself wrong, even if you're using the distractor implants or other things that aren't necessarily working? Just know that there really are tools out there, whether it's Access Consciousness or something else, that can contribute to your life being greater all the time if you choose. It's like there really are possibilities, and especially in this time now where we're supposed to kind of think that we're supposed to live small and like hide in our houses and not really like choose much more, and supplies are running out, and it's like, no, actually a greater future is always available at every single moment you choose.
And it is changing.
Yeah.
The world's changing, and we don't even know how it's changed yet.
Yeah.
It's exciting.
Yeah. And that's a great point too, that sometimes we don't realize the effect that our choices will create in the future. And as long as we keep choosing, and sometimes you just make a choice and you don't think about it later, and then all of a sudden you start to see something grow from that. And you're like, oh my gosh, that was from that choice that I made like 6 months ago. I forgot about that. So we really are very potent in our asks. So what can we ask for today? And what is possible with living beyond distraction that we've never considered that we could be or choose, that if we did be and choose it, would actualize a greater future than we ever thought or imagined possible? And everything that doesn't allow that, can we destroy and uncreate at all times a godzillion?
Right, wrong, good and bad, pot and pocket, land, shorts, boys, meons. And just know, if you find yourself spinning around, all you got to do is destroy and uncreate the distractor implants and just ask, okay, so what strength do I have that's under this? What capacity do I have that I'm not choosing to be and acknowledge right now? Because you can either live your life from living as the lightness of what's true for you, and everything that's true for you is actually light. It makes you lighter. It makes you happier. Your body gets happier. Everything gets more wonderful. And or you could live functioning and trying to deal with the lies that you bought as true. And a lie always makes you feel heavier. So it's like, if you go around trying to deal with like, oh, I'm such a failure, or oh, I'm so this or that or the other thing. Like, oh, why did I say yes to this? I can't possibly accomplish this. Has that ever made you feel lighter? No.
I like how we all made the same face, like,
It's not actually what's true. It's more intense, but it's not true. And just because something's intense doesn't make it true. It doesn't make it real. There actually is a strength in living as the lightness of being that you are, that most people will tell you that it's valueless, it's meaningless, you're delusional, why don't you get real? But you don't have to. And then you get to be happier than those people.
Yeah.
I like that. You don't have to. You can still be happy.
Yeah.
You don't have to get real.
Oh my gosh. So when you were talking about like what's light and then heavy, like what came up was like love sickness.
Oh. Yeah. Love
So what do you mean by love sickness?
So one of the things that I was started noticing why like I've been using love and sex and jealousy and peace as a distractor implants is I love watching like Korean dramas, and they're always about love and stuff. It's like I'm living vicariously through the dramas. And like I noticed that like I fall in love with people easily, and then I get lovesick. Yeah. And so what's a question I can ask about that?
I would wonder what it would create if you started asking, like, how much caring do I truly have for this person? And one of the really strange things about this world is caring is seen as a weakness. It's seen as something that isn't good to have, and it'll hurt you and harm you. But it's like, if you allow your caring to be there that you have naturally as a being, whether you ever express it to anybody or show it to anybody, but you have it for you, you will be that beautiful, sweet being that you are. Because just having that for yourself while caring for somebody else, it creates this energy on the planet that feeds the planet itself. It feeds Earth, it feeds plants, it feeds animals, it feeds the sweetness that's possible, it feeds consciousness. So it once you start to twist it into, oh, it's unrequited, or maybe they don't feel the same way, that starts to turn it into that distractor implant and makes it more about this reality. But originally, when Brett's talking about underneath distractor implants, there is some potency. It's like, what potency does your caring actually have? And everything that you haven't acknowledged about the potency of your caring, would you be willing to destroy and uncreate it all?
Yep, right, wrong, good and bad, pot and pot, calling, shorts, boys, and meows. And when you have that strength and potency of caring, do you need it to be given back to you by another person?
Ooh, that could stick a person. I could make it a little fudgy.
Yeah.
It's
No.
just like, it just keeps like kind of going.
Wow.
Yeah. Cool. So yeah, you don't, when you have the potency of caring and not the distractor implant of love, it never has to be reciprocated. You get to, caring is another thing that's just true as you, the being.
Yeah.
So it's like, to try to withhold it or to expect to receive caring in return for your caring, it just creates that place where you have a sense of lack in your caring. I mean, in what you can be.
Yeah. It like puts a cap on something that's already like huge, huge, huge. So it's like it kind of tries to squash something that's not squashable. So yeah, that would feel a little strange.
Exactly. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Is that why I was so depressed?
Put a bottle cap on this geyser and call it good. And it's like, whoa.
Exactly. But that's how strong we are. We can take one little thing and try suppress our geyser with a little seems like a little cap of water bottle cap.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And to me, this is just one of the greatest, most exciting explorations there is just to actually find out who we are as beings. Like, what is it that's really underneath all of this? Like, for the most part, a lot of us have this idea that underneath things we're horrible, we're mean, we're terrible, we're ugly, we're just cruel or evil. But when you start actually taking some of these layers off, and for me, it's been using the tools of access consciousness, but I know there are other tools out there too. It's just like you start to find out who you really are. And then you don't have to be scared of yourself. You can actually go through the world with confidence and joy and peace. Peace not from the distractor implant, but from that space.
Peace.
That actual kind of peace. Like, yeah, if someone fucks with me, I'm going to chop their head off or kick them in the nuts, whatever's required.
And be peaceful about it.
And be peaceful about it. That's part of
it. That's the nicest way I've ever heard someone say, I'm going to chop their head off.
Yeah. Exactly.
I'm willing to if it's required or if something comes up.
Yeah.
And it's wonderful to be able to explore these things and to find out who we really are. And for me, that's just been something that's been extremely rewarding about these classes and about finding out who I am.
Yeah. It's not light. It ain't you.
Yeah.
And like those things where we think, a lot of times we try to hold not be present with those places and spaces that we thought are so cruel and evil and mean and vicious or whatever about us.
Yeah.
And that's part of what keeps that lie in perpetuating itself.
Yeah.
So it's like, can destroy and uncreate the distractor implants and look at it like, okay, so what if I were truly to be present with all those places where I've thought that I'm bad, evil, mean, or vicious? What would I find behind that I haven't been able to access because I haven't been present with it yet?
Yeah. And if that seems totally out there and just kind of like, oh, that's a little more than I know how to handle right now, that's totally fine. Like, basically, it's pretty normal to have a lot of different defenses and walls built up against that to make sure that we basically kind of like protect the world from our terribleness or protect the terribleness of the world from us. And I've mentioned a few times, but there are these incredible tools of access consciousness in all sorts of classes, from Being You Changing the World to the foundation class to bars. And what are some of your guys' favorite classes to help just begin to play with what's really possible here?
I mean, I'd say all of them.
Yeah, basically all of them. Yeah.
And since bars classes are a little bit not very available at the moment because of the
There's
COVID
one
restrictions.
online one with Brendan Watt, I think,
July
happening in
9th.
July, but that's a little bit of ways away. But most of them are online right now.
Definitely. I mean, the more access you can do and the more things that you can find that actually like ping for you, it doesn't even have to be access, but like you can ask, okay, so if I choose this, what will my life be like in 5 years?
I love that
10 years,
question.
and 20 years.
I love that question.
And if I don't choose this, what will my life be like in 5 years, 10 years, and 20 years?
Oh my gosh, yes.
And you can choose from there. Choose whatever you want to choose from there. You will have a sense of the energy, even if you don't think you will.
Yes,
You know.
You do know.
Like, yeah, everybody, you know more than you think you know. It's like, that's the cool part about it. So, I don't know how much time you guys have, but I do want to talk a little bit, because I was gushing before we were on live that you two are like one of my favorite like couples in access. Yeah, it's like relationship goals with that definition. Of course.
Cool.
So, like, can you talk a little bit about what tools you guys use every day, or because I know relationship is also another one of the DIstractor implants, and it's like a little bit later in the book. Interestingly enough, it's paired with business. So,
and if you guys don't think that their relationships and business, y'all are delusional.
How was that? I'm on one of Brett's telecalls with Connor, and I just they were like, you have relationships in business, and I was like, you do? Oh my god, I'm blown. So they're still you guys are still taking people for your call, right?
Yes, yes. Before tomorrow, yes. It's called Bitch and Bastard Whispering.
Very controversial.
It's very controversial. How to get what you want from the people who don't want to give it.
I would have to say that there should be an 18 plus, warning.
Totally. I think there should be too. I agree with that statement. Yeah, very fun, and it is very not where anyone thought it would go. The whole first call, we've done 1 out of 3 calls, and the first call was about basically getting there was so much in it. Oh my gosh. It's basically getting to the place where nobody or nothing gets to control you.
It's a very big topic.
It's a huge topic.
Luckily, there are 2 more.
Yes, exactly. Because we all have bitches and bastards in our lives. How do you know a bitch and bastard in your life? It's the person you go, oh God, that person's being such a bitch or bastard right now.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
totally.
We all have them. And
to talk about relationship and some of our favorite tools we use, it's it's not a popular belief or idea, but we're not big fans of compromise.
Oh my gosh, no.
So what we do instead, because so for a while I would ask couples that were together a long time, I'd be like, what's your number one tip for how to, make a relationship work? And they'd be like, compromise, compromise, compromise. I'm like, this isn't real estate. This isn't location. Like, I don't believe that. But yeah, so I'm not good at compromise. And how many of you out there are good at compromising?
How many of you out there pretend to be good at compromising?
Yeah, fancy yourselves good at giving up what you really desire and really like.
Yeah, because that doesn't create any resentment at all.
Yeah, it doesn't.
Does it?
Create any repressed anger later or any explosions when you can't repress it well enough.
Anger's a distractor implant.
We are actually speaking from experience there because
yes,
it's not like we jumped straight to like, actually, we're not going to compromise. Of course, we tried it out. And
yes, this has been a practice relationship where we get to practice all of the tools to actually have ease and peace and space with the relationship. Yeah. And we are not perfect by far, but we do always have and always will continue to get to what's light eventually.
Yes, to get to what's light eventually and to do our best to honor ourselves and the other person, but to actually allow ourselves to come first, which isn't a popular point of view, but we know that eventually we will get to lightness if we honor ourselves first and are willing to. Sometimes it's about talking things out, and sometimes it's a matter of just saying, hey, I'm in a grumpy mood. This has nothing to do with you. I might need some space right now. I'm just wanting to be grumpy, or whatever it is, but just kind of, I guess, being willing to state what's true for you and just keep going without this idea that you're supposed to give something up of yourself in order to make a relationship work. Because that's the thing that really doesn't work.
Yeah, because I mean, if you have the function from the idea that you have to give up something of you to have the relationship, what would it take to be all of you then?
Yeah.
You'd have to leave the relationship to be all of you if you have that point of view that you can't be all of you in the relationship.
And
you have to give you up.
I've been in a relationship where someone said, I need to leave this relationship to have all of me. And I was like, God, that doesn't feel so great at the end of that. But what was that person's point of view? It's like, if you had to give up not even your favorite food, but like your 5th favorite food in order to be in a relationship with somebody, would that work for you? Like, no, I want to eat my food and be with that person if I like them and they like me. So it's like, does compromising anything else make sense? Or is it just as ridiculous as giving up your 5th favorite food?
Yeah. Well, I have a great example of this.
Do you?
Yes, in our relationship that we've been creating for 8 years now. Oh my gosh.
Cool. All right. Let's talk about it.
So Georgia does not like onions very much. Well, you used to really not like onions. Now you can do onions, no problem.
Yeah.
But so what I've known is she does not like kissing people who have onion breath. So have I had to give up onions to be in a relationship with Georgia? No. I just know if I eat onions, I will not be kissing Georgia that evening.
Ah, interesting. So you know what your choice will create, but it's not like you feel like you have to give that up.
I'm not giving up any of me by not eating onions when I want to kiss you.
And you sometimes do choose to eat onions, and then I'll know that you don't want to kiss me that evening.
I'm onions over kissing that evening. And it has nothing to do with you.
And I don't take it personally because it has nothing to do with me.
Oh, that's so sweet. I love that.
Exactly. I know.
Very true. Very, very real.
If I choose this, what will it create? I will not be able to kiss Georgia with ease.
Yeah. Well, we'll go in for it and I'll be like, ew. And I will specify it's raw onions. So cooked onions.
Cooked onions, great. Oh, yeah. Raw onions.
So much more reasonable, isn't it?
I think so.
Oh, I love that. So, let's see. Is there any other last yeah, because the kids are like, that's my sign. Whenever the kids start crying, I'm like, oh, okay, we gotta wrap it up.
Yeah.
Yep, on to the next thing.
They're like, excuse me, this is done. If you like it or not.
The loudspeaker. All right, we will listen to that.
So, any
Sarah,
last
we're coming.
tips or? I wonder if he'll come in. Maybe we can call his center and he'll come in here and make a guest appearance. So, anything else that you want to say? Like any last like tips or?
Could you do that upstairs again?
We're all disbanding now. No, I would say just thank you everybody for watching. And what else is truly possible? Let's keep playing and seeing what else we can create.
Yep, and remember, underneath every single wrongness of you, there's a strongness there that you haven't yet chosen to be.
Yes. So thank you so much for joining us, and thank you everyone for watching.
Yeah.
So we'll have some. I think Dr. Sanjeev is gonna be on here in a couple days or sometime. It's very irrational. We don't have like. It's just whoever pops
at 2 p.m.
Okay, so Brenda's saying thank you, and Katrina says thank you. So thank you for coming, and bye everyone. So okay, person who's controlling, can you hit the button?
Can the very controlling person hit the button?